Hello and welcome to another episode of Love Revolution Feminine Wisdom. I'm your host, Mia Saenz, and sitting next to me is the lovely Janita D'Souza. That is a mouthful, but it's so beautiful, and so are you. And I'm excited to have you here, so welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you for the welcome.
You're welcome, sweetheart. And then I'm going to share with you, not just share with you who you are, which I have, but I'm going to share about you. So, Janita was born and raised in the tropical islands, which sounds so nice, of Andaman, India. Janita left home at the age of 15 to find her identity. That was very young. This is not the typical, interview classroom stuff. We're all free and talking about all of it. But little did she know that the awareness that she was seeking would bring her to London in the UK, where she found the freedom and expression of her womanhood. Oh, I have to talk about your womanhood with everybody and why I chose you. Soon she was caught in the rat race and competition of the Western world, burnt out with severe illness, which made her realize that she had to lose her societal identity to discover her real essence. After several years of immersing herself into the spiritual learnings of the divine feminine and recovering her real essence as a woman, she made the decision to pass on her wisdom to as many women around and invite them on a journey of exploring their femininity. 4 years ago, Janita found the company Exploring Femininity running monthly women's new moon ceremonies. Well, actually, it's called New Moon Circles, but I added ceremonies, workshops, and private coaching, and will soon be launching her Feminine Essence Rising, which is trademarked program, and lifestyle courses for women of the 21st century. So, and yes, she's a certified life coach and a hypnotherapist and all these great things. So, NLP, EFT, psychic reading, shamanism, law of attraction, kinesiology, affirmations, cleansing, statements, and the works. There's more, but we're going to get into that because I want to bring her back on. I was so excited when I met Janita that I had to have her on today because I had seen her I had seen you, but I'm talking to the audience. I had seen Janita for probably about 5 or 6 months coming through my feed, or coming through, it might have been one of the goddess collectives or the spiritual entrepreneur, I'm not sure, but coming through, and I noticed how gloriously beautiful you are and feminine and graceful, and I was attracted to it. So that's why you and I got to meet, and that's what I love about my job, is that I get to meet and bring in people to share with my community and have our communities expand together, and it's really very lovely. I really love that you are all about embracing the feminine, the grace, the beauty, supporting women, and these new moon circles that you do. Share a little bit with us, and then we're going to have you begin teaching your 7 C's. And I know you'll share that with us too, but tell us about your new moon circles, because and I'm just going to say this, some of us are spiritual, and then we get into the mysticism, and then it all explodes. As I was being raised in a metaphysical religion, which was part of a church type thing, and I'm sure every Christian, Catholic, everybody who's into the religion would say, wow, we never did those full moon ceremonies, or we didn't practice. So now that I've been doing it for years, I want the newbies, or the new people coming into the mystic side, to understand the grace and the glory. It's not just about us getting naked and dancing around a fire.
Yeah.
Although it can be, but
It can be fun.
Exactly. So will you share that with us, please?
Yes, so when I started my exploration of the divine feminine, I started attending these new moon circles, which I had no idea what it was. I thought, okay, ladies come together and they sit and talk about their problems and probably find a solution, and that's, talk basically, express themselves. However, my experience was totally different. What I experienced was something kind of like a red tent environment where ladies come together at this auspicious time of the natural cycle, and they just allow themselves to be. there is no agenda, there is no topic of the circle. They just allow themselves this moment to come in harmony with themselves. And the new moon itself gives this potent energy for us to go within and then tune ourselves with what we want to create. So a lot of us women, we didn't know, we were all new in the circle when we started, and I just decided to do it because I was eager and excited to and desperate to make this change in my life and like find my essence, as you said. So what I realized with this moon circle was that this moment brought me to stillness, and I had forgotten to feel still, like how it feels to just be, because we don't have time to just be still. And that's when you start to connect with your thoughts and your real feelings and your real desires. And I think the moon allows us to, it kind of accelerates these kind of emotions in us because of the moon's effect with water, and our body made of water. So all these things are just so interlinked. Like in ancient times, they used to follow the cycles of the moon to determine whether to go fishing or not. And same way, like our bodies are made of water, and it highly affects especially our menstruation and our menstrual cycles. So I realized by coming to this stillness and finding this stillness in these new moon circles and just being connected in this circle of women feeling still, there was this energy that was generated within us, which was the collective, the sisterhood that I had never felt before. We were living in this competition age, as I said in my bio, that the extreme pressure of looking good in the Western world just got me. I had not experienced this before, and coming to this stillness and connection with the sisters around, it just made us realize that we all have similar issues, similar desires, and we want to feel similar things. We just have to connect with each other. And the new moon circles gave us this opportunity, and we brought in ceremonies of brewing the raw cacao to boost our oxytocin, and like having some fun around the various elements of nature. And it just brought us closer to the source, the nature, the divine feminine, the source of divine feminine, Mother Nature. And we could feel difference in our energy. And one funny thing that we did was to tie a circle of sisterhood in our hands, and we would keep that piece of thread with us and bring back the next new moon. And this thread was a reminder to us that we are connected as one in this consciousness, and we are not isolated in our busy lives. We could always tune into this energy of this sisterhood in the new moon and feel this vibration of being there for each other. And that kind of changed my life, because I never had this supporting environment before, where I don't have to go and speak and explain myself, but just be, So the new moon circles are like really close to my heart, and very, very, very precious experience in my life that drove me into this journey of exploring femininity.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And you've come back around to, well, when you said that you started feeling overwhelmed with the things that you had to be in this Western culture, I look at you and I say, she's gloriously gorgeous. You are. So you've obviously come to terms with your full balance of, your roots, your Western, your womanhood, your feminine essence, all that together. Because looking at you, we'd say, wow, she's pretty well put together. And usually when people say, oh, I had to just abandon or step aside, they're usually, living up in a mountain, not taking care of themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give a compliment here, and I'm trying to explain it too. So the point is that you're very lovely.
it was the reverse effect for me, because I was born in these tropical islands, and which was like this raw nature and simple life, and simple people. And so that's why when I got to London, and I got caught in this busy world, and I just realized that simplicity was nowhere to be found anymore. And I actually got also caught in this pressure of always trying to look good, like when you're trying to look good to just doing the sexy and not being the sexy,
Right,
like
right,
I could feel the pressure that women were under here, which I never experienced in the small town that I was growing up with.
right.
And I had to go through my own, ups and downs. And I was even comparing myself to, like the white ladies, like, wow, they're so beautiful. Look at their skin, and look at them, they're so gorgeous. And I'm not beautiful, and I was just stuck in all this comparison. And yeah, so
Which is
yeah,
really, which is crazy. I'm not saying you are, but I get it.
I was.
No, I understand because, that's one thing about cultures and society that put upon us are these false imprisonments within us. And until we build our inner core of strength, self-love, our feminine grace, our divine grace, then we hold a space of confusion about ourselves, you know? I remember, and I've said this often, that there was a time, because I've struggled with my weight when I put it on weight on purpose to keep men away from me. And then I struggled with my weight ever since, taking it off, then it comes back on, then I take it off. So some ways to connect myself was to just declare, this was as I was starting to understand who I was and to bring in my feminine and my divine grace. I would say to myself, I am the perfect reflection of God, and mankind will see me as such, just as God sees me.
Wow.
And that gave me such empowerment and beauty, and every time I would step out of the house, people would just treat me so beautiful, and that fear went away. And it's like, no, I am in control of who I am. And so many people, young people especially, don't understand that we are so much more magnificent and powerful than we allow ourselves to be. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's really beautiful. And before I turn the classroom over to you, I don't want to forget, but I'm going to be in England, July and part of August, and in Europe. So will you be having a full moon circle then?
In July, my husband and I are planning to go to India, but however, things are not fixed. But yes, like if you're around and if it's happening, of course, I'd love to, yeah,
Okay.
invite
So
you.
we'll keep in touch on that, because that would be fun. Okay, awesome. I just love this life. It's so great. It's awesome. So share with us, teach us your 7 C's.
Yes, so to begin with the feminine essence. So when I started my exploration of what I was, like who I was and what I meant to be, my shaman, my teacher, she gave me a really important and kind of like life-changing lesson to me, and she explains the meaning of essence to me. And she said that essence is the intrinsic nature of a person, this quality that no one can take away from us. And it's our gift to us, it's our life force. And this kind of brought it all together for me. And this is what we are. Our feminine essence is our intrinsic nature. We all as women have it. It's a gift. It's so unique to each one of us. So no one else can be us. We are our own essence. And we need to first realize this, that we are unique. And this gift can never be taken away from us. In fact, when we repress it, it even becomes worse and worse, and turns into all shadows and ugly, yucky feelings, and we melt down one day like this balloon that pops up, and yeah, all the manifestation of anger, depression, things take over. So this is the reason it is important for us, especially busy women like us, to not lose this connection with our essence and not let our story of our life take over in this busy life. And in order to connect with our essence, it's very important that we realize that we make certain energetic, emotional, and physical shifts in our lifestyle. We need to cultivate this feminine essence, and we need to be ready to make this shift in our lifestyle. So, the 7 C's that I designed, which was part of my growth process, um, to cultivate feminine essence. To start with, the first C is choice, and that's the word. I don't know what even to explain more about it, because we always have a choice. We always have a choice. The choice can bring us closer to our passion or desire, or it can take away from our passion or desire. So we can always choose. And in any given situation, how we respond to a situation is our choice. And the understanding of this will begin to make us realize that how empowered we are. And when we're not connected to our feelings and emotions, we actually give away that choice. So it's very important for us to bring this to our awareness that we always have choice. Choice is the first thing that we need to understand. And once I realized it, it became easy for me to even choose to be upset or be angry at things, because I know my emotions. So I choose to be angry today and complain, not because I'm a complaint box, but this is what I want to choose. I choose to be, I'm in control of my feelings, and I'm not scared to choose what I want to express. So the first C is choice. We always have a choice. And I like when one of my teachers asked me that, you have a choice. You either feel like shit or you go sort out your shit, so it's your choice. And I was like, okay. My choice is to sort my shit because I'm tired of feeling like shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's the first C. The second C is commitment. And that word, I feel that in our society has been kind of like terrorized. We start to feel heavy and dense already when we think of commitment. Like it sounds scary, and it sounds like an obligation. And we need to, in order to cultivate feminine essence, we need to change our relationship with this word commitment. Because from my personal experience, I was so scared of committing to things that even when I decided to commit to a new habit or something, things will just go wrong and resistance will show up. And I was so good in talking myself out of my commitment. I was very good in making excuses for myself that I cannot do this. I cannot commit to it anymore. And I realized that it was because I was always running away from this word commitment, and it never made me feel good. It made me feel like I have an obligation. And the moment I realized that by committing to ourselves, we're actually doing a very beautiful thing. We are actually building this trust with ourselves, that we can count on ourselves, we can trust ourselves. And this is one of the important things to build our self-confidence, that we can count on ourselves. So changing our relationship with the second C, the commitment word itself, and realizing that when you commit, resistance will come up. And resistance is this opportunity for us to grow, and it is there for a reason. And let's just do it anyway, let's just resist, commit to it, resistance comes up, and let's just do it anyway. So being open to changing our relationship with commitment is the second C to cultivate the feminine essence. I need to have a sip of water. I saw you and I wanted to.
My coffee is just divine. I can't stop drinking it. It's delicious.
I've started adding certain flower essence to my water, and
oh, lovely. Yes.
I'm loving it. It just
That's
makes
wonderful.
me feel like very excited,
What
especially
is,
it's 9 o'clock here in the UK.
oh, yes.
So, the third C of cultivating the feminine essence is consistency. And all these C's are very interlinked, and it was very interlinked for me to tap into my feminine essence in my journey as well, because we need to be able to choose and commit and then be consistent. I recommend to my ladies that I work with that commit to be consistent in at least having one practice that makes you feel good, like right away in the morning. Do it. Like I've heard many people saying, feed the feminine first thing in the morning. And I really like this idea. And I think that it does not really have to be spiritual. It can be totally non-spiritual thing that makes you feel good. Like wake up in the morning and take time to make tea for yourself and just enjoy the process if you really enjoy.
But that's spiritual too, because we're getting in touch with, sorry,
Yeah.
because we're getting in touch with what makes us thrive and
Yeah.
be the best person we can be in that moment. I look at that as spiritual.
Yeah.
It's not like what you're saying exactly, because a lot of people watching this, they would say, well, that's not spiritual. But
Yeah.
our morning, if we treat it as a morning practice and spiritual abundance, it's no matter if you're going to the restroom, the toilet. That is
Very spiritual.
that is a semi-spiritual experience, because you're taking care of what's needed to be taken care of for the glory of your own body.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. However, like when I was teaching this to some of my clients, they would get nervous that okay, that means first thing I need to wake up and do some journaling or some meditation or some yoga. And I like to say like my mom, she likes to wake up and just stare at her trees in the garden, and that's it.
that's
And
beautiful.
I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just looking at the leaves. Isn't it beautiful? So
Yeah.
yeah, so it can be anything that excites this feminine in you, that excites you before you just get dragged into the busyness of your day. Do one thing consistently that makes you feel good, and it could be as little as going to the toilet and being present, as you said.
I'm going to regret saying that. You're going to remind me of
You
that.
know what your feminine likes?
So funny.
So I'm gonna remember it now,
I know you will. It's very funny.
Well, you never know. So the fourth C of cultivating feminine essence is compassion. And this, as you know, Mia, you're the self-love teacher, and you know how hard it is for ourselves to be compassionate to ourselves. We're trying to be this Miss Perfectionist, and we overthink, and on top of all, we think that something is wrong with us all the time, So trying to be able to forgive ourselves for not being the perfect ideal of whatever we have in our mind, to be compassionate. Because when we take this journey of exploring our femininity, we are like this child who is learning to walk or learning to ride a bike, and we may fall several times, we may do things wrongly, and we need to be compassionate to ourselves in order to allow ourselves to really move ahead in our journey rather than being stuck in criticism of ourselves. And according to Tantra, all our unforgiving emotions get stored in our heart center around our breast area, which is the representation of our feminine energy, the physical representation of feminine energy in this world. And a lot of ladies these days have shown symptoms of unhealthy breast cancers, and these kind of issues, health illnesses around your breast, could be the result of unforgiving emotions really being stored in and around our heart center. So I really like to do breast massage regularly and say affirmations and also do a Ho'oponopono prayer, just, and make myself feel good and forgive and allow myself to see myself as this child who is learning to walk and stop being the Miss Perfectionist syndrome. So, which is really important to be compassionate to ourselves. And the next C of cultivating feminine essence is connection. I had experienced that I had actually, growing up in India, I had developed this armor, this mask on me that I couldn't let my guards down. I was always trying to be this masculine woman that don't mess with me, and even though I was, I'm a tiny girl, like I was petite and I was skinny and I had to really put up an act to protect myself, and I never felt safe, being alone in the streets in India, and it was really hard growing up. So I had to learn how to de-armor my energy and start making these real connections, like even make eye contacts. I was always avoiding eye contacts all my life for until I was in India because I was scared that I will invite trouble, you know. So, but then we women also complain that no one understands us. There is no one to tell our stories. However, like I've realized in my workshops, we open the circle with a connection exercise where ladies look at each other's eye and really connect, and the judgment in the room just melts away. So for me, having this connection is so important. Like really stop and connect with the other person who you're talking to, and be present when you're listening to them, even not to think of what you're going to say next, and listen to them as if you're going to repeat after what they're going to say. So be present and start making these connections with we can start with our loved ones. Even just looking into their eyes deeply can really melt this guard that we have and start flowing this energy of connectedness that we really have, which is so important for feminine essence. Next C is creativity, which we all know what it is about. And as women, we have been given this gift of creating life force, but we're just not there to produce babies. That's not what we are here to create only. Our sacral chakra, which is below our navel, around our womb, is the source of creativity, and it is also the source of our femininity, our sexuality, our sensuality, passion. And when that chakra is blocked, it's really hard for us to connect and experience this feminine essence. So, especially what I realize as business owners, that we get so caught in making and running our business, which is so hard. And when it comes to creativity, we are busy creating our contents. However, having a non-business hobby really allowed me to tap into that creative essence of mine, where I didn't have to, even though I was creating content, I was still like in my head sometimes, like judging my own stuff, like maybe yes, maybe not. However, when we have this non-business hobby, like anything out of work, I think it allows us to just let go and experience just silliness, like a playfulness that is our intrinsic nature. It is our essence of feminine is playful. We've got too serious, and there's joy and fun in just creating, not just the content or the creation itself, but the process of creating itself is very joyous. Just like a child, takes so long to build a Lego, and then once it's done, just smashes it and like, okay, next, let me do something else. So it's the fun in creating, and this is what is missing out in our lifestyles these days that we don't give importance to creativity, and we even judge what we create sometimes, like, oh, I'm not an artist to create, or I'm not a singer or a dancer, but play with yourself, do something fun. And many women in my work with them, they told me that they stopped creating because someone told them that they are not creative, they were not good enough to create anything. And I think you don't have to be good enough to create anything. Creativity is not about how good or Picasso you are. I think it's about just the process of letting go and playing. So yeah, so that's which number was that? That was the sixth number, sixth C of cultivating your feminine essence. And the last C of cultivating your feminine essence is celebration. It's about celebrating ourselves as much as we could. And that was a taboo for me. I don't know about you, but I was scared to celebrate myself. I was so competitive that even if I win a race, I would not celebrate myself. I would move to the next.
I think you're right. That's across the board for women and men, just in culturally, right?
Yeah, so just celebrating ourselves, for me, it meant seeking approval from people, like getting the permission that can I celebrate myself? And if they say yes, okay, yeah, you've done well, let's do something. And I'm happy, but nothing would even ever come from my own heart to celebrate myself. And I realized that, what a nonsense that was,
Yes.
Why didn't I celebrate myself? And I realized that by seeking everyone else's approval to really celebrate myself, not my achievements, just myself, I was actually rejecting myself in that way. And that was a very big realization for me, that I had to stop seeking approval. I used to get resented when my partner will not buy flowers for me. I would be like, okay, it's 2 weeks. I should be getting some flowers, but there are no flowers. And why are there no flowers? What's wrong? And when I realized that I was actually rejecting myself, I just realized, what's the big deal? Why can't I just go and gift myself some flowers? Simple thing like that. Just having a bath is a celebration of yourself, your body, your existence. Just celebrate ourselves as much as possible. And what I've realized is, when we celebrate ourselves, we open ourselves to receiving. And every time in a busy, hectic schedule, running around like a headless chicken, when I just stop everything and just go and celebrate myself by taking a nap, I think things start moving much faster. Like sometimes when I just celebrate myself, then universe opens the gateways for much more movement in my life, like much more opportunities, especially in terms of my business. Like when I'm feeling so tired and I just can't have my head around doing things and figuring out all this technology, and then just go and have a nap, and and there's energy shifting rather than we starting to feel resented about ourselves.
Right.
So
it's wonderful.
So yeah, so these are the 7 keys.
And I love them. They're really beautiful, because as you were going through them, I was thinking, 7, that's a lot of C's. I got to see what they are. Really beautiful. And of course, when things are beautiful and smooth, they come together, and all of those were perfect. So, isn't that cool how creation comes when we need it? I loved every single one of them that you brought up, and they were all very relevant to what we're doing as women and growing. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
You have a free gift for us. We're almost out of time. I'm looking at the clock going, wow, we are like over. Which
really?
It goes it says we're at 34 minutes. And we normally finish, which is fine. This was perfect. It's all beautiful and it's all perfect, but it went by so fast. I was like, Is that seriously the time?
Now I was wondering, what am I going to talk for so long?
It was perfect. So share with us your free gift, honey.
Okay, so if you go to my website, exploringfemininity.com, you see there a free gift, which is a 13 days free video series for you to explore your femininity. It's 13 days of videos where I will guide you with small tips and tools for you to experience more of freedom, fulfillment, passion, pleasure, and just take this journey of exploring your femininity. And it also comes along with weekly feminine mantras, which I send out every Monday of the week to my list, where you get a feminine mantra as well as a small embodiment message that you can practice during the week, and it's for your year round. So 52 weeks of feminine
Beautiful.
mantra.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, before we say goodbye to everybody, will you share with us what's on your heart right now? I sprung that on you.
My heart right now just exactly. I think I should go and celebrate myself. My heart is telling me to wrap up the day from it's like 9 p.m. to here, and I think my husband is waiting for us in the kitchen to prepare
Awesome.
some stuff, and
Nice.
I think we're just gonna celebrate. And what I'm gonna leave with you is that we all are unique, precious gifts to ourselves. We just have to value ourselves. So, yes.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, honey. It was wonderful to have you join us and be a part of Love Revolution Feminine Wisdom and the Rainbow Heart Classroom. So thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so excited and so happy for this.
Thank you, sweetheart. And thank you all for joining us. We'll see you in another episode.